The dachshund had never made anyone laugh the way she made the baby laugh. The pediatrician said the laughing was the most important data point in the whole chart. The sound of a baby's first real laugh is something parents remember for the rest of their lives. Not the early reflexive smiles. The first laugh, the one that comes from somewhere genuine, that shakes the whole small body. Mira Nakashima had been waiting for it. 8-week-old Kenji had given her smiles, had given her the drowsy contentment of a well-fed infant, had given her 12 weeks of a developing face that was slowly becoming a specific person. He had not yet laughed. He laughed at the dachshund. Their 4-year-old miniature dachshund Pretzel had come to investigate Kenji on the playmat with the low-slung, systematic approach of an animal who treats all new additions to the household as items requiring full sensory inventory. She had walked the perimeter of the mat. She had sniffed each corner. She had arrived at Kenji's feet, then his midsection, then his face. At face level, Pretzel had done something she did to many things she encountered. She had sneezed, hard, the involuntary whole-body dachshund sneeze that she produced at random intervals and had never once in 4 years found embarrassing. Kenji laughed. Not a reflex smile, a full body-shaking, eyes-crinkling laugh, the sound Mira had been waiting for, produced by a dachshund sneeze at point-blank range. She took 14 more videos over the following weeks as Pretzel continued to produce this effect on demand, or rather on sneeze, which in Pretzel's case was essentially the same thing. She sent the videos to her pediatrician, Dr. Amara Ose, partly in delight and partly because she had a question she felt slightly foolish asking. The question was, is this normal? Is laughter at 8 weeks early? Is there something the laughter was measuring that she should know about? Dr. Ose watched the videos. She said, yes, this is early. And then she said something about what early laughter indicates in developing infants, about the social and neurological underpinning of that specific response. That made Mira stop thinking of the dachshund sneeze laugh as a funny story and start thinking of it as a piece of data. Subscribe now before the next detail, because what Dr. Ose said about the social affective development that full laughter at 8 weeks indicates, and about what the dachshund had done specifically to produce it, changed how Mira understood those 14 videos. Dr. Ose said, laughter in infants at this stage requires the coordination of multiple developing systems: social recognition, emotional response, breath, and vocal control. A laugh at 8 weeks, a full laugh, not a reflex smile, indicates that those systems are communicating earlier than standard timeline. That is not a concern. It is a developmental milestone, and it is ahead of schedule. She said, what the dog did was produce an unexpected physical stimulus, the sneeze, at close range to a face that was already tracking her. The surprise component, combined with the dog's proximity and the infant's recognition of a familiar face, triggered the full response. In developmental terms, the infant recognized the dog as a social agent and responded to her surprise behavior with the appropriate social emotion. That is sophisticated processing for 8 weeks. She said, your dog made your son laugh because your son was ready to laugh. She just gave him something worth laughing at. Has a pet ever produced your baby's first laugh or a developmental milestone in a way that surprised you? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, and about what animals give us that we didn't know we needed, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Kenji is 4 months old now. He laughs at Pretzel reliably and specifically, at the sneeze, but also now at the walk, at the ears, at the general pretzelness of Pretzel. Pretzel accepts this attention with the equanimity of an animal who was never trying to be funny, and has arrived at comedy through pure authenticity. Mira thinks about the 14 videos, she thinks about 8 weeks and early systems, and the specific sneeze that unlocked something in her son that she had been waiting for. She thinks Pretzel didn't know what she was doing. She was just being a dachshund, and somehow that was exactly the right thing to be. Next, the German Shepherd who kept sitting between the toddler and the front door every morning, and what the note that arrived in the mailbox on day 7 explained about the previous 6 days.